What up, what up, what up? What's happening? Que lo que miente. Welcome to Love, Purpose, and Passports. Hope all is well and all are passport ready, a passport getting ready. For those of you that don't know, I am Mr. Pro for You, living in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. To all the new people new to the channel, bienvenidos. Let's get right to it. A while back, a brother in one of the groups asked me to do a video on vetting. You know, this is the relationship channel, Love, Purpose, and Passports. We're here for the relationship people, the people that want relationships, the people that have relationships, long distance relationships. We're about all of it. So, without further ado, you know, I know a lot of guys, that's a popular word among guys who are interested in, you know, taking things a little bit further. I'm a vetter, you know, you got a vetter, make sure you vetter. But what is vetting? Let's read the definition. To investigate someone thoroughly, it's an investigation. And, you know, it says thoroughly, so it's up to you to determine. Is this a state investigation or is it a Fed investigation? If you know, you know. So it's to investigate someone thoroughly, especially in order to ensure that they're suitable for a job requiring secrecy, loyalty, or trustworthiness. Now, this is for relationships, and I don't know about you, but we're going to need all three of those, not or, and trustworthiness. So I'm not Moses coming down the mountain with the vetting commandments, but, you know, there's a lot of them. And this is not something that you got to memorize or something that, you know, you're supposed to, you know, go through all of them and, you know, make sure that you look for all of them. No, this is just meant to give you something to think about. The things that are important to you, hold on to them. The things that are not so important to you, let them go. There'll be some things in here that are deal breakers to you. Hold on to them. Like I said, this is just something for you to think about as you're trying to take your relationship to the next level or considering taking it to the next level. So let's read the definition one more time. To investigate someone thoroughly, especially in order to ensure that they're suitable for a job requiring secrecy, loyalty, or trustworthiness. Now, does this sound like something that can happen fast? You know, the only thing that can happen fast is you can jump off the bridge and start swimming. There's vetting for marriage and there's vetting for relationship. We're going to talk about vetting for relationship because that has to happen first, even though it's also an important step to vetting for marriage. First, let's establish what we mean by relationship. It means there's some level of commitment involved. There's some type of future plans involved. You have some type of agreement and understanding of boundaries in place. Now we're on the same page. So there are guys who move fast and guys who move slow. I always advise brothers to take it slow, but the reality is slow is relative to the person or people involved. Taking it slow really means fight the urge to attach high levels of importance or meaning to everything that feels good for now. The first step to vetting your woman is to get out of your own emotions. There's something about the flight, the tropical atmosphere, the beauty, the booty, and the femininity that triggers guys' emotions here. And no matter what they say, this is a common occurrence. So if you are in your emotions, you're in that, this feels so good and I'm so happy I want to give her everything phase. You're not thinking, you're just feeling. And who does just feeling ever work for except for R&B singers? Let that run its course and just enjoy your woman. You're in no condition to vet. So how do you know if it's run its course? Ask yourself, why do you think she's right for you? And if you're only visualizing her body, sex, and her being nice to you, it hasn't run its course yet. So now you're ready to get this vet party started. You should spend some time learning what to look for based on the things that are important to you. And remember, time is the most important component of the vetting process. How much time? Enough time to be comfortable entering into the level of commitment you require for your relationship. Let's start with watching how she carries herself in public. Is she flirty or reserved? Does she glow for God's attention? Or does she represent you well, carrying herself confidently as a woman who's not available? There's a difference between nice and polite and giving off choosing signals. You know how it goes, fellas. There's the ones that give you that looking at you, looking at her vibe that passes between you real quick. Then there's the ones you look at them and they're gone. Just a beautiful passing through in her space vibe. Two types. Know which one you have so you know what you're dealing with. But that's the kind of thing that takes time and random situations to notice. And if you see that she's attention seeking, then you know that it's amplified when you're not around. For sure. How does she dress when you're not around? We shouldn't have to talk about her dressing too provocative, but the question should be, how do you feel about how she dresses when you're not around? It might have been cool when you had just met her and was just smashing every now and then, but is it something you're okay with when you're in a relationship with her? How she dresses represents how she carries herself, how she advertises herself, and how she is. Another thing you should take notice of is her social media. A business doesn't count unless it's OnlyFans. Her social media shows you how she presents herself to the public and what she does in public. If there's a lot of guys interacting with her posts, what does that mean? Doesn't matter. We like your girl posting sexy pics. Matter of fact, we didn't even know it was your girl. See how that works? How many social media platforms is she on? What types of pics and videos does she post and how often? How many followers does she have? Why is this important to take note of? If she has a couple of hundred followers, no big deal. But what if she has thousands? You got to ask yourself, what is she doing to get that much social media attention? Does it look like she has a man? If no, then she doesn't. If yes, does it look like you're that man? Or is it the mystery man date pics? You know, where you take the picture of her and her dinner, then she posts it with the caption, "The best night ever." And you feeling heroic and represented. Don't be that guy. So we talked about how she carries herself. What about her actions? Meaning, do her actions match her words? When you first meet, you do a lot of talking, especially when it's long distance. Is she who she says she is in action? Does she claim to be peaceful, but always getting into it with people? Does she say she's a responsible person, but always has an excuse as to why she didn't take care of business? Basically, you got to make sure she's walking the walk she actually talks. How does she respond to you? Meaning, is she into you? That question is important because it's so easy to get caught up into being into her. You got this beautiful, sexy woman that you're enjoying showing her just how much you're Mr. Right. Meanwhile, you're not really paying attention to if she's really into you or if she's just available to you. It's easy to mistake the two if you're not paying attention. The first one, being into you, her body language tells you she desires you. She's interested in everything about you, excited about you, proud to be seen with you. The other one, she's just happy to see you. Is she affectionate with you? We mentioned that a lot. Is she impressed by you? That's important. You might ask, impressed by what? Anything that represents you. It could be something as minor as your walk, because your walk represents how you carry yourself around people. It reflects your confidence. And we know women love confidence. It could be how you talk and not just your word selection. How you talk with strength, intelligence, confidence, wisdom, how you dress, how you handle yourself, how you handle business, how you handle life, your outlook on life. The point is, all kinds of things can impress her, larger things or smaller things, but she must be impressed by you. That means your masculine is affecting her feminine correctly. If she's not impressed by you, it's a no-go. Vetting complete. If you don't know if she's impressed by you, I would say ask her. But when a woman is impressed by you, you know it. She doesn't have to say the words, even though she might, but you'll know it because she'll respond verbally, physically, or emotionally, or all three. So most likely, if you don't know, she's not. Find another woman. You know why? Because when a woman likes you enough to be in a relationship with her, she likes you so much that she'll be impressed by things that nobody else even gives a damn about. Don't ever start a relationship with a woman who's not impressed by you. And impressed by how many Western Unions you send does not count. How's her family life? And what's her relationship like with her dad? Have you met her parents? You want to know what her relationship is like with her dad because you want to know if she spent any time growing up with a man that she loves and respects. When she takes you around her people, do you get the feeling she's been speaking highly of you? Or do you just feel like the Americano's sitting there? For you to be considering her as relationship material, she should have been speaking highly of you to her family by now. But if you're getting a funny vibe from them, you got to get to the bottom of it. Find out why. We talked about her being into you. But now we're asking, is she genuinely interested in you? Does she ask questions about your past, present, and your future? Or does she just answer your questions and ask you for stuff? From the time you've met her to now, would you say she's brought you more peace or more problems? That's something to think about. It's going to be harder to know if she brings you real peace, meaning like a peaceful environment, until you spent stretches of time with her or you guys are living together. But it's easy to attribute the combination of the flight, the villa, or fancy hotels and Airbnbs, laying on the beach on a tropical island. It's easy to attribute that peace to her, but it's not. That's the same peaceful environment you would have whether she's there or not. Men, we tend to be at peace by ourselves. So when it's someone else added to the equation, that's when it becomes important because they can actually remove the peace. But ain't nothing like that beautiful, peaceful, feminine energy present. And that takes me to this. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Do not get caught up in the 3 E's. You know what the 3 E's are? The Butte E, the Boot E, and her calling you Pop E. Nah, you need to know things like, do you share the same values? If you have shared mutual interests, you know, it's very easy on an island like this to fall in love with a woman that you've really only partied with. Have you spent time with her somewhere that wasn't like a going out or vacation activity type place? You may want to try getting a hotel that's not fancy for a few days. See how she reacts to it. See how she responds. We've ended up in some toe up hotels back in the days. Didn't mean to, but we ended up there. You know how you get them hotels that the bathroom door don't open all the way because it hits the toilet or something and it's hot in there. I don't know how we ended up in that hotel that time. And it seemed like it was at one of those small resorts, but she ain't complain. We didn't care. We was there for each other and into each other. It didn't matter. I'm pulling the nightstand over, setting the drinks up, pouring the ice. Let's get this party started. And I think we ended up in that because I think they were booked like that. We got there on the weekend. So I think all the rooms were full. I even had to I think it was a bidet or something. I had to put like a styrofoam cup over the hole in the toilet because it was like, got this, you know, bidet vapes coming up out the toilet. We didn't care though. We were there for us. A couple of days later though, Sunday is checkout for everybody else. We were just getting started. So I think we spent 2 days in the room. Sunday, we in the suite. And it was on the rest of the week for the following week. But, you know, you want to know how she responds to that. You know, not always being in, you know, the flyest places. You know, for us also, when her mother would be out of town, we would stay at the crib. And so we were in like a normal environment sometimes. And you just want to see how that is. You want to see how she acts in a normal environment. If you're facing language barrier issues, I know you're trying to learn Spanish, but is she trying to learn English too? Or is it just all on you? It shouldn't be. She needs to be learning how to communicate with you, just like you learning how to communicate with her. And speaking of the language barrier, we're here for you. If you're having those language barrier issues and you got some things you want to tell her about you, you know, because I know sometimes you just want to tell her how you mad up sometimes, you know what I mean? Sometimes you may want to give her some detailed information. We're here for you. The interpreting, we got that. Efficient, discreet, professional. Does she protect you like you valuable? Or are you just on your own? And mainly, I mean protecting you from getting green gold. Telling you where you shouldn't go, telling you what you shouldn't do. You in her country, so she has to do more things for you, especially when it comes to dealing with the public. Does she act irritated or impatient about it? She shouldn't, because if it was the other way around and you could just snap your fingers and be in the States, she'd be handicapped. What does she have going for herself? Does she work or go to school or both? She should be doing something. Look, you know, to each his own, but we tend to go with if she's not working or going to school, doing something, it's a red flag. Have you confirmed how she was supporting herself before you came in the picture? And I don't mean has she told you, have you confirmed? It's important. You don't want no surprises later on. Ask her about her past relationships. How long were they and why'd they end? For one, you want to know if she has any experience in a long-term relationship or any relationship. And two, you want to gauge based on how she answers whether she's still dealing with feelings from the past. And speaking of that, let me share this with you. Don't go into this automatically believing her ex was a piece of shit and you're going to be better to her than him based on what she says. You don't know her well enough. And if you think that, you'll assume what she's telling you is the whole truth. She was an angel and he was a devil. So it blinds you to the possibility of deciphering the story correctly and gaining a proper understanding of her. Listening to how she speaks about her ex will tell you if she's over it or if she's still angry about it, which means she still has feelings attached to it. Mind you, we're not talking about deal breakers unless that's a deal breaker for you. We're just talking about being aware of what you may have to deal with. If she has a kid, is the father still in her life? And I'm talking about her life, not the kid's life, meaning there's still a whole lot of interaction between the two of them. You know, he's still taking her mom to get groceries and shit. You want to know? Because that's something you need to consider. Does she lie to you? No, scratch that. Does it seem like she lies to you? What I mean by that is bold-faced lies, you're not even going to be considering that. So I'm talking about like omissions, things that don't make sense, that blur the truth. Those are the kind of things you have to think about because they can seem insignificant when she's just someone you seeing every now and then. But once there's relationship and commitment in place, what once was insignificant becomes full-blown deception. Pay attention to her movement. Do you guys have a daily schedule? We talked about work and school. Does she have a daily work or school schedule? My wife and I, she worked, I worked. We would come home, talk to each other. We had a schedule every day. That's part of the relationship. You should be talking every day or almost every day. But I mentioned a schedule because what is she, just on random time, hangout time? That's not good for obvious reasons, which takes us to the next one. Does she go missing sometime and show back up with excuses? Something to think about. Remember, vetting is an investigation. Patterns mean something and broken patterns mean something. Is she still a party chick? Still out with her friends all the time? What kind of women are her friends? Especially if she's always around them. Birds of a feather flock together is a saying that's been around for a long time for a reason. And if you don't respect the type of friends she has, what does that say about her? It's just something to think about. Are her religious views in alignment with yours? May be important, may not be important. It's important to me. I don't have to worry about if I need a little bit of prayer, and then she break out a case with her chicken bones in it and throw it on some kind of like Scrabble board or something. I don't, that's cool for some people, but that's just not really my get down. How does she act when she's angry or you guys have a disagreement? Is she combative? Seem like she's out of control? You don't want to be in a relationship with someone who can't control themselves. You don't need that. One more thing. Although you're the one doing the vetting, you're part of the vetting process. You have to be a good relationship type man in order for the results of the vetting to be accurate. If not, you'll contaminate the process. It's like if you're being vetted for a job and the person who's vetting you is no good. What's the chances that the results will properly reflect who you are? Slim to none. So if you're not right, you can vet all you want. The results will be tainted. Approach the vetting process as a stand-up man. This is for you, and it'll be worth it no matter what the results are. Love, purpose, and passports. Peace.